crore rupees from that firm. So he gets enriched by 200 crores. 100 crores is the capital, he gets 300 crore. Old law he would have said Mohan bhai, Mama bhai, etc., not taxable. Legislature says we must step into before Mahendra bhai retires. And therefore, they introduce 45(4), taxability in case of receipt of money or capital asset by partner or member or reconstitution of firm or AO. There is a partner, there is a firm, partner receives, what he receives? Capital asset or money or both during the previous year, and the receipt is in connection with the reconstitution of the specified entity. We will go much deeper into the verdicts, but first of all take a very simple case. 100 crores था, उनको 300 crores money, so he is getting extra 200 crore rupees. Is the firm gaining? No. Who is gaining? The partner. But 45(4) said if these conditions are fulfilled, implications are what? Profit or gain arising from the receipt by partner shall be chargeable as income of the firm. Gain is arising because of receipt by partner, but shall be chargeable as income of the firm, and that too under the head capital gains. So एक जो वैक्यूम था वो फिलअप हो गया, ये 200 करोड़ भी अनटैक्स नहीं होगा, ये टैक्स करेंगे अंडर 45(4). And then the second deeming fiction, it will be deemed to be income of the firm in the year in which that money or capital asset is received by him. So in this year he retires, he gets 200 crore extra, and there is a formula B plus C minus D. B plus C is what he is receiving, D is his capital contribution, B plus C in our example is 300, minus 100, 200 crore taxable, but this is income of Mahendra bhai but not taxable in his hand, taxable in the hands of the firm. Now the second question arises कि अभी इनको 300 करोड़ देंगे कैसे? It could be given in terms of liquid term or it could be given in terms of some other assets. So suppose firm decide कि liquidity नहीं है इतना, we give some assets worth rupees 300 crore to him. For example, firm has got a land, जिसका value है 300 crore rupees, वो उनको दे दिया. And that land the firm had purchased years back for 50 crore rupees. So now we have three figures. His capital 100 crore, land's value 300 crore. The land firm had purchased for rupees 50 crore. Decide ये होगा कि रिटायरमेंट में हम इनको ये लैंड दे देंगे. He got enriched by 200 crore because 100 का 300 मिला. Firm got enriched by 250 crores because 50 करोड़ का जो लैंड था, ये तो तय हो गया कि आज इनको 300 करोड़ देने हैं. अब वो 300 करोड़ देंगे कहाँ से? लिक्विडिटी नहीं है तो चलो ये लैंड दे देते हैं. इट कुड हैव बीन अदर वे अराउंड आल्सो, ऐसा इस तरह से कि ये 300 करोड़ में लैंड मार्केट में बेचते हैं. अगर ये 300 करोड़ का लैंड मार्केट में बेचोगे आप तो कैपिटल गेन फर्म को आना ही है. 50 में खरीदा था, 300 में बेचा है. अब वो पैसे आप महेंद्र भाई को दे दोगे तो महेंद्र भाई को 45(4) में टैक्स आना है, 300 minus 100. So there is no overlapping as such. Many groups and circles are on that part की 45(4) और 90 साथ में एक ही चीज को दो बार टैक्स कर रहे हैं, एक ही चीज को दो बार में टैक्स हो रहा है. My this example is only for this. These are two different events, two different enrichment of two different entities. One is enrichment of the partner taxed under 45(4), another is enrichment of the firm taxed under by virtue of 90, not under 90, it could be 28 or 45, we'll see, but by virtue of 90. So 100 का 300 मिलना उनका enrichment 45(4). 50 का लैंड आज वैल्यू 300 हो गया, फर्म enrichment. अब इसके बीच में एक छोटा सा कैच है, उनको 100 की जगह 300 क्यों दिए जा रहे हैं? कैपिटल 100 करोड़ है, 300 क्यों दिए जा रहे हैं? माइट बी गुडविल, माइट बी रीवैल्यूएशन ऑफ द एसेट्स. यू माइट से अरे अपने पास इतनी बहुत सारी लैंड है जो हमने ली थी, बुक वैल्यू ऑफ माई कैपिटल इज 100 करोड़, बुक वैल्यू ऑफ दैट एसेट इज सम अमाउंट, बट आज तो उसकी मार्केट वैल्यू इतनी ज़्यादा है, अब मैं तो निकल गया, एसेट तो यही रह जाएंगे. आप फ्यूचर में बेचोगे इस एसेट को, फ्यूचर में विल गेन. तो एज ऑफ टुडे जो एप्रिसिएशन हो चुका है उसका पार्ट मुझे भी मिलना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वेरी पर्टिकुलर एसेट कि 300 करोड़ में ये मार्केट में बेच रहे हो तो 50 का 300 हुआ, ये जो 250 करोड़ है, इस 250 करोड़ में मेरा भी तो हिस्सा है. पूरा 250 उनका नहीं है, 250 में उनका हिस्सा है। इन द सेम वे देयर विल बी सम अदर एसेट्स आल्सो, उस सब में उनका हिस्सा है, इसलिए 100 का 300 मिल रहा है। तो अगर उस सब में उनका हिस्सा है और 100 का 300 मिल रहा है, तो एक छोटा सा गैप उन्होंने वेरी इंटेलिजेंटली फिलअप किया है कि अभी 50 का 300 जो अभी टैक्स कर रहे हो, उस 250 करोड़ में भी उनका हिस्सा है। सपोज इज ए 20% पार्टनर, तो 250 करोड़ का 20% 50 करोड़ उनका प्रॉफिट है इसमें। देन व्हाई शुड ही से कि 100 का 300 मिल रहा है, 150 का 300 मिल रहा है। 100 उनकी कैपिटल है, वो तो एज पर बुक वैल्यू है। 50 जैसे मेरी एसेट की जो वैल्यू बढ़ी है उसमें उनका हिस्सा है, तो 50 तो उनको कैपिटल और बढ़ी गई, जिसको आप आज टैक्स कर रहे हो इन दी हैंड्स ऑफ द फर्म। तो डोंट से कि 100 का 300 मिला, तो इसे 100 प्लस शेयर इन दैट प्रॉफिट 50, 150 का 300 मिला अंडर 45 टैक्स ओनली ऑन 150 करोड़। कहां से आया, कैसे आया, प्रोविजन में जाएंगे। इन नटशेल दिस इज द प्रोविजन। नाउ सी द वर्डिंग्स। पार्टनर फर्म, two events on chargeability. There is a receipt of capital asset or money or both. It did not say receipt of money, it did not say receipt of property. There are two terms used, receipt of money, receipt of capital asset, and that receipt is in connection with reconstitution of the entity, and that reconstitution is defined either admission, retirement or death, or change in PSR. So take a case of a simple case of a retirement. So retirement is a species of reconstitution. So the event, the occasion is reconstitution, and on that event what is happening? Receipt by partner of either a capital asset or money. Then implication we have already seen. Formula is B plus C minus D. Why B plus C? Because you could either receive money, which is B, you could receive capital asset. So market value of that capital asset, that is C. B plus C is the total amount which is getting. In some situation there could be only money B, there could be only asset C, there could be a combination of two B plus C. Minus D is this capital, and this capital is excluding the revaluation increase and self-generated goodwill or asset. So you have to see his capital as per the book value. Then you might say कि सर अभी अभी आपने बोला कि 100 का 150 कर देना है, and यहाँ पे लिखा है D देखते टाइम excluding revaluation increase in self-generated goodwill, तो ये 100 को मैं 150 क्यों कंसीडर कर रहा हूँ, you'll see in 10 minutes. But excluding a normal revaluation, अदरवाइज तो क्या होता था, एट द टाइम ऑफ रिटायरमेंट जो भी देना है सेल्फ जनरेटेड गुडविल एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, वो करके आप उनकी कैपिटली बुक्स में 100 की जगह 300 कर दोगे, एंड देन दिस फार्मूला विल ऑलवेज गिव आंसर 0. देयरफॉर दे से B plus C minus D should be without recourse to revaluation. Clarification: 45(4) shall operate in addition to 9D. तो जो एग्जांपल मैंने अभी दिया, अगर आप उनको ये 300 करोड़ देने के लिए आपकी लैंड दे देते हो या स्टॉक इन रेट दे देते हो, तो जस्ट बिकॉज वो 50 करोड़ के 300 करोड़ पे फर्म टैक्स देगी, दैट डजंट मीन महिंद्रा भाई 100 के 300 पे टैक्स नहीं देंगे. 4 will apply 45(4) in addition to 9D, and both the section operate independently. Now what is 9D? 9D supplies there is a partner, there is a firm, same as 45(4). Partner receives capital asset or stock in trade. So now there is a deviation. 45(4) says receipt of capital asset or money. 9D says receipt of capital asset or stock in trade. Money doesn't come in 9D for obvious reasons. Because 9D is taxing कि फर्म को कितना एनरिचमेंट हो रहा है, मनी के केस में फर्म को कोई एनरिचमेंट नहीं है, बट कैपिटल एसेट और स्टॉक इन ट्रेड. बट स्टॉक इन ट्रेड रिसीव करने पे 45(4) नहीं है. 45(4) is stock, sorry, money and capital asset, and here it is capital asset or stock in trade. Even this dissolution or reconstitution, 45(4) said only reconstitution. Dissolution was not in 45(4), but 9D says dissolution or reconstitution. If that happens, what is the deeming fiction? It will be deemed that firm has transferred that capital asset or stock in trade to the partner in the year in which that capital asset or stock in trade is received by the partner, and then if there is stock in trade involved, it will be business income. If there is a capital asset involved, it will be capital gain, and the normal calculation of business income or capital gain. So as such, 9D is not a computation section. It only says that in this event, this is a deeming fiction created 50 करोड़ की लैंड आज वैल्यू 300 करोड़ होगी और वो अगर आपने ट्रांसफर कर दी, इट विल बी डीम्ड दैट यू हैव ट्रांसफर्ड। और 300 करोड़ जो है दैट इज द फुल वैल्यू ऑफ कंसिडरेशन। FMV of the capital asset or stock in trade shall be deemed to be the full value of consideration either for the purpose of capital gain or for the purpose of business income, whatever is the case in the hands of the firm. Then income will be, of course, if stock in trade under business income, if capital asset under the head capital gain. So what is our syllabus for this? We have 40/4, we have 9B, we have rule 8AA, which says the method of determination of period of holding of capital asset. Why do we need to determine the period of holding? To characterize the capital asset as short term or long term, and then the consequential, etc., etc. Now in my simplest example, केस स्टडी को देख के सब लोग बोल रहे हैं यार ये जो अभी एग्जाम्पल दिया वही पहले भी रख दिया होता। महेंद्र भाई भी खुश, हम भी खुश। सो इन माय सिंपलेस्ट एग्जांपल, 50 करोड़ का लैंड, 300 करोड़ मार्केट वैल्यू, दैट इज चार्जेबिलिटी अंडर 9B। इन आवर एग्जांपल इट इज कैपिटल एसेट। सो फर्म के लिए कैपिटल गेन, वो कैलकुलेशन इज वेरी सिंपल। 50 करोड़ की लैंड जब खरीदी थी वहां से पीरियड ऑफ होल्डिंग ढूंढो। यू डोंट नीड रूल 8AA। 2 साल से ज्यादा हो गया लॉन्ग टर्म, कम हुआ है तो शॉर्ट टर्म, इंडेक्सेशन एक्सेट्रा, वो 50 करोड़ का जो करना नॉर्मल कैपिटल गेन कैलकुलेट करो। 9B वाज जस्ट एन एनेबलिंग सेक्शन, ये डीमिंग फिक्शन है, बाद में आपको जो कैलकुलेशन करना है करो। बट ये जो 100 का 300 हुआ, या विद माय एग्जांपल की उस 250 करोड़ के प्रॉफिट में से उनका शेयर 50 करोड़ भी ऐड करके उनकी कैपिटल 150 करोड़ मानी जाएगी, और 150 का 300 उनको मिला, 150 करोड़ एक्स्ट्रा मिला है। ये गेन किसको हुई? पार्टनर को। टैक्स कौन दे रहा है? फर्म। वेयर इज द ट्रांसफर ऑफ कैपिटल एसेट? हमें पीरियड ऑफ होल्डिंग किसका ढूंढना है? इन माय एग्जांपल हम बोल रहे हैं लैंड, बट दैट वाज इंडिपेंडेंट फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ 9B। 2 मिनट के लिए लैंड वाला ट्रांजैक्शन भूल जाओ। महेंद्र भाई को कैश दिया 300 करोड़, मनी 40/4 तो आ ही रहा है, ट्रांसफर ऑफ कैपिटल एसेट और मनी। देयर इज नो ट्रांसफर ऑफ कैपिटल एसेट, किसका पीरियड ऑफ होल्डिंग ढूंढेंगे? Then the rational says कि ओके, इनको 100 का 300 मिल क्यों रहा है? Because there are so many other assets जिसका वैल्यू बड़ा है, उसी के कारण नेट का 300 मिल रहा है। तो उसके बेसिस पे हम लोग ढूंढे कि whether this gain is short term, long term, उसका पीरियड ऑफ होल्डिंग देखें। और भी सी है the length of time during which this partner was partner in this firm। 3 साल से ज्यादा यहाँ थे तो लॉन्ग टर्म, 3 साल से कम थे तो शॉर्ट टर्म। Firm is not holding the partner, and therefore we needed an answer कि भाई ये 40/4 का B + C - D तो ठीक है, what is the character of this gain? शॉर्ट टर्म है, लॉन्ग टर्म है, और इंडेक्स करना है नहीं करना है, and therefore we needed rule 8AA. Rule 8AB, attribution of income taxable under subsection 4 of section 45 to the capital asset remaining with the specified entity under section 48. Now what is this? So again the same question again and again, इनको 100 का 300 क्यों दे रहे हैं? Because there are other assets जिसकी वैल्यू बड़ी है। लैंड वाला एग्जांपल ऐड करें तो वही 50 का 300 हो गया है। 250 करोड़ में से उनका शेयर तो 50 ही था, देन उनको 150 करोड़ ही देना था, फिर भी 300 क्यों दिया गया? दैट मीन्स देयर आर अदर एसेट जिसकी भी वैल्यू बड़ी है। 300 करोड़ का लैंड तो वो लेके गए हैं, पर जो एसेट्स फर्म में पड़े हैं उसकी भी तो वैल्यू बड़ी है, इसी के कारण उनको 100 का 300 मिल रहा है। और ये 100 का 300 को आप टैक्स कर रहे हो अंडर सेक्शन 45(4). And the reason of giving him 100 to 300 is increasing the value of assets of the firm. But these assets are still with the firm. In future you might sell those assets. So when you sell those assets, in future there will be a capital gain implication on the sale of those assets. At that time, you will say, जब तक महेंद्र भाई पार्टनर रिटायर हो रहे थे तब तक जितना वैल्यू बढ़ा उस वैल्यू पे तो हम लोग ऑलरेडी टैक्स दे चुके हैं। और अब जब ये एसेट बेचा, सेम एग्जांपल में लैंड अगर हम इनको नहीं दे, लैंड यहीं पड़ा रहने दे, लैंड उसको थी 50 करोड़ की, आज उसका वैल्यू 300 करोड़, कल को जब आप इस लैंड को बेचोगे इन 400 करोड़, इन दी हैंड्स ऑफ द फर्म कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन तो 50 ही है, तो आप 50 से 400 टैक्स करने वाले हो। वेरी सिंपल से 50 से 300 में से जो शेयर इनको एक्स्ट्रा दिया वो तो बॉडी में फॉर्म में इट हैज बीन टैक्स। सो एटलीस्ट टू दैट एक्सटेंट whenever this asset is sold in future in the hands of the firm, there should be some step up of the cost. Don't say 50's land is sold for 400 crore. 50 plus some part of the capital gain which is attributed to this particular land, that should become the cost of acquisition. So that further reduction is given in section 48(3), but that occasion will arise only when that asset is sold in future. वो आज नहीं हो रहा है। 45(4) is happening today, 9B is happening today, but the remaining asset will be sold in future. Whenever they are sold in future, there will be capital gain, and therefore there should be some step out of that cost to avoid the double taxation. That step up is provided in 48(3), and 48(3) says that step up will be determined in the manner prescribed. That manner prescribed is Rule 18. So that comes in our syllabus. और in the सारी DCD में government felt we have to explain. Everybody will not attend chambers also. And therefore they gave power to the central government to issue guidelines to remove difficulties under subsection 4 of section 9B for the implementation of 45(4) as well as 9B, and that gave to the circular number 14 of 2021. And unless you read this circular guideline under 94, circular number 14, if you don't read this particular circular, you will never be able to understand what is there in 40/4 and 90. So now this is our syllabus. 40/4 and 90 comparison, just to recapitulate. 4 either receipt of money or capital asset, but 90 either receipt of capital asset or stock in trade. 4 only on reconstitution, that is admission, retirement, death or change in PSR. 90 on dissolution or on reconstitution. So 90 goes one step further. If it is dissolution, 45(4) doesn't apply, but 90 applies. If you read that guideline issued under 94, under that circular, they will carve out certain steps as to flow, how to go ahead. And the flow is step number 1, you apply section 90 first before applying 40/4. पहले आप 90 apply करो, and 90 will lead to either a business income to the firm or a capital gain to the firm. If stock in trade is given to the partner, business income. If capital asset is given to the partner, capital gain. If the partner is settled in liquid terms, neither stock in trade nor capital gain, 90 will not apply. If 90 will not apply, step number 1 doesn't apply. But where the settlement is by way of either stock in trade or capital asset, first do 90 calculation. Once you do the 90 calculation, the tax implication would be in the hands of the firm. There are two kinds of professionals sitting here, chartered accountants and advocates. Chartered accountant has a motto, Yayeshu Sukteshu Jagat. And as per register, there is, I think, even the advocate sitting beside the chartered accountant. Are you awake? Good afternoon, everybody. So first step, do section 90. If at all it is applicable. If you settle him in cash, 9B doesn't apply. 9B implication, tax to the firm. Even 40/4 tax to the firm. Partner को तो कुछ नहीं देना है. Post tax profit to be credited to capital account in profit sharing ratio. Neither 45(4) provides this, nor 9B provides this, nor 8AA, nor 8B. Guideline to remove difficulty, circular number 14 of 2021 issued under 94. it says the example which I gave, don't say 100 के बदले में 300 दिया है. There is a land which you have given to him, which you had acquired for 50 crores. Today's market value is 300 crores, and you are giving that land to him in settlement of your liability to him. You have agreed, partner retire or you are going to give him 300 crores. So that liability is discharged by giving this land of 300. So ये 50 through 300 जो profit था 250 crore, इस पे फॉर्म जो टैक्स देगी, whatever is the after tax profit, he also has a share in that. That post tax profit will increase his capital base from 100 to some figure. So 250 crores, assuming a 20% capital gain tax, 50 crore would be tax to the firm. So 250 minus 50, 200 crore is the after tax capital gain to the firm. Out of that 200, if his profit sharing ratio is 20%, 40 crore rupees इनका था. So when you are applying 40/4, B plus C minus D, don't say D is 100, D is 100 plus his share in the post tax profit on which firm has paid tax under 9B. So don't say 100 ka 300, it is 100 plus this 40 his share, 140 ka 300. So step number 3, this increased capital balance to be taken into account for 40/4, and for the purpose of current year of receipt, the transaction, these steps are enough. However, again the underlying ratio 100 का 300 क्यों दिया? Because there are other assets also. ये land तो दे दिया, but there are assets which will sell in the future. If you sell in the future, there will be capital gain implication, and you should get a step up of cost under 48(3). That is step number 4. Capital gain under 40/4. Because of those revaluation, you are paying in 300 crore, and today you are paying tax on that amount. So this amount should be added to the cost of those assets for the purpose of future calculation of tax implication of that asset, and that is provided under 48(3). Step number 1, 9B. Step number 2, what is the post tax profit added to his capital base under whatever is the capital as per books. Step number 3, find out what is the capital gain under 40/4. Answer under step number 1, tax to be paid by firm. Answer under step number 3, tax to be paid by firm only. In future, for the remaining asset, you will get some extra deduction. That calculation you may do it today, you may do it after 5 years. That is step number 4, because all the figures are with you even today. Either you do it today or you do after 5 years, but you are not getting any deduction for the step number 4 today. It is all about future. So now the question, is this a legislative misfire? Why I am using the word legislative misfire? What are the taxing under 45(4)? बचपन से we know capital gain means gain arising on transfer of capital asset. 50 का land 300 I understand. That is chargeable under capital gain. His capital gain, his capital of 100, he getting 300. That you are taxing under the capital gain, and that too in the hands of the firm. Why? Because they say, first you answer, why you are giving 100 ka 300? Give him 100, झगड़े खत्म. But you are giving him 100 ka 300 because you are saying there are so many assets, इसका value बढ़ गया है, there is goodwill. Firm is going to get benefit of that goodwill in future. This partner is retiring, you should get some share out of it. So if there are so many other assets, जिसका value बढ़ चुका है, उस बढ़ चुके में से some share you are giving to him, we will tax him now. But what we are doing is actually preponing the taxability of those remaining assets which are going to sell in future. You are giving him 100 ka 300 because there are other assets जिसका value बढ़ा है. You are not selling those assets right now, but someday you will sell. वो जिस दिन बेचोगे उस दिन टैक्स लेने से अच्छा at least to the extent the amount you have given to him right now, to this extent we will tax him right now under 45(4), and we will give up a step up of the cost in future whenever the occasion arises. In effect, what is getting happening? Taxing received by partner and not transfer of capital asset. There is a capital gain without there being a transfer of capital asset for the purpose of 45(4). So what you are doing is you are taxing the firm on unrealized increase in the value of capital asset and allowing deduction in future. In effect, you are preponing the tax evidence. And there are so much tedious calculation of the step up of cost of attribution under 48(3). And for that additional deduction, we will see that rule 8AB later, which says that it is compulsory to obtain a registered valuer's report. We will see it a little later. Now situation 1, with this background of this case study, situation 1 of our case study. I don't remember all the figures. I believe as per the revaluation, the amount agreed to be given to him was 1 crore and 5 lakhs. So now Mahendra Bhai is out of the picture. He is happy with his 300 crore bounty. Now our small assessee getting 1 crore 5 lakhs. First of all, the firm has sold certain shares. These shares which the firm has sold, full value of consideration 37.5 lakhs, 30 lakhs, these are all figures already given. Index cost 7.5 lakhs is the long-term capital gain to the firm. Assuming 20%, ignoring surcharges, etc., 20% tax rate, 1.5 lakh is the tax which will be paid by the firm. Then there is a land which is given to the partner itself. So 9B says fair market value of that land, it will be deemed transferred by the firm to the partner. Again fair market value is 37.5 lakh, index cost 30 lakhs already given, 7.5 lakhs, 20% tax on that. Stock in trade also transferred to him. Book value of the stock in trade 3 lakhs rupees, market value 5 lakhs. There is a business income to the firm 2 lakhs rupees. Tax on above because this business income 30%, 60,000. Pardon me for any calculation errors even in this entire case study, but just look at the sequence and the methodology to apply it. So step number 1, first you do 9B. There was a sale of shares which was outside, so actually even 9B is not needed in that. There is a normal 45(1) calculation of capital gain of sale of shares, 7.5 lakh, 7.5 lakhs capital gain, 20% tax will be paid. There was a land given to the partner itself. There also 7.5 lakh capital gain, tax to be paid by the firm. There 9B was involved. There is a transfer of stock in trade. 9B says it's a deemed transfer. 2 lakhs rupees business income, 60,000 tax to be paid by the firm. Now step number 2 says his capital. In case study, I believe the capital was 40 lakhs rupees in the balance sheet. But there is a revaluation of all the assets. Step number 1 says first of all 9B. What is the after tax profit you find out? So this is the calculation of that after tax profit of share, stock and land. Fair market value 37.5, book value 25 lakhs. We had an index cost of acquisition of 30 lakhs. But value in the books was 25 lakhs. And on the liability side, his capital 40 lakhs was represented by book value of asset. And section also says that when you are doing B plus C minus D, D should ignore it, the revaluation. So D was based on book value. And book value of shares was 25 lakhs. When the selling price is 37.5 lakhs, in terms of book, so account there is a gain of 12.5 lakhs. Though as per indexation, gain of sale of share was 7.5 lakhs. While calculating the tax liability, we say 20% capital gain tax on 7.5 lakhs, that is 1.5 lakhs. But while calculating what will be his capital, you have to go by the books. And as per books, the value of share was 25. Selling price is 37.5, there is a book gain of 12.5, subtract 1.5 lakh tax, the after tax book gain is 11 lakhs. Same thing for stock, 5 lakhs market value, 3 lakhs is the book value, 2 lakhs is the gain. Here the book result and tax result is same because business income there is no question of indexation. So 1,40,000 is the after tax business profit. Land again there is a difference because of indexation. In books its value is 15 lakhs. Indexation, it had a value of 30 lakhs. So 7.5 lakhs, but tax on that 1.5 lakh, we subtract from the book gain 21 lakh. So these last three figures, 11 plus 140 and 21 lakh, add up to 33 lakh 40,000. All this originates only from the guideline issued under 19. That you have to do this. It has no other legal backing, and that guideline has an origin under 90 subsection 4. It's a delegated legislation. They can prescribe. They have given an additional deduction. Enjoy it. Don't question it. Question the vacuums in that guideline. We'll see it. What are the vacuums?